Hello and welcome to SoFlex Math. Today we're going to go over the SoFlex Math 5th grade mastery course Spiral Review booklet. So another great bonus resource you can use. And this one will cover basically our number sense from kindergarten all the way up through 5th or 6th grade. So you'll be able to progress through each of the levels and really see where you're at any point. And it's very easy, as you'll see, to create hundreds of new problems instantly. So let's dive right in and take a look at what these look like. All right, our spiral review level 1. So as you can see, each day you're going to create your own today's number. So I put in 19. On the next page we have some blank templates where you can put in your own number. But what you're going to do is you're going to try to answer, there's a total of 20 questions. And you're just going to answer all 20 questions based on the number 19. So question 1 says, write how many 10s and 1s. So there's 1 10 and 9 1s, for example. If you change the number to 38, all of a sudden you have a whole 20 new set of new questions. So let's look at question 9. Subtract 10 from the number. So 19 minus 10 is 9. So you get to do all of the practice. So as you can see, level 1 is very simple. Obviously, when we get to level 5, it'll be very challenging. So if you're able to proceed through each of these questions, I'd say at least getting 80% or better. Move on to the next level. Otherwise, keep practicing until you can get at least 80% to move on to the next level, which would be 16 out of 20 is what you'll want to try to get on these questions, because there's 20 on each of the spiral review levels. And as I mentioned, so here's a blank template that you could use. So notice how it says today's number, and then it's a blank line. So here's where you could use it just to make up your own number. So you can make up the number 24, 58, whatever you wanted. That way you don't have to use that same number over and over, because that would obviously be a little bit boring. But here you can make up your own numbers and answer those 20 questions. All right, let's take a look at level 2. Okay, so as you see in level 2, our number got a little bigger. Now it's in the hundreds, 348, for example. So you're going to want to create your new numbers are going to be in the hundreds. And then our questions are going to get a little bit more challenging. So we're going to be adding, like if you look at question 12, add 684 to that number, okay? Or number 13, subtract 188 from the number. Or even a couple multiplying. Number 16, multiply that number by 20, so powers of 0. And 17 and 18, rounding to different place values. So as you can see, the questions get a little more difficult, and the numbers get a little bit bigger as you go through each level. If you want a whole new set of questions, change the number from 348 to 277, for example, and you have a whole new set of 20 questions. All right, let's take a look at level 3. All right, spiral review level 3. Here we have a number in the thousands, so 3,912. And once again, as you look down, kind of glance through those questions, they're getting more and more difficult. So number 5, create an open number line with that number. Number 4, use the correct symbol, less than, greater than, or equal to, compared to 4,139, and explain why. So see if you can explain why you chose it was greater than, or less than, or equal to. And then down towards, if you look around numbers 15 through 18, you're going to be multiplying and dividing by bigger numbers. So even some double-digit division. So as you can see, level 3 is getting a little bit more difficult. Once again, these are not level 1, first grade, level 2, second grade. Okay, these are skills that are overlap from grade level to grade level. But it should go in that progression, meaning make sure you can do level 1 before you get to 2. Make sure you can do 2 before you get to 3, and so on. All right, so take a look at level 3. Okay, our next level, level 4, is going to be dealing with some decimals. All right, so here we are at spiral review level 4. And as you can see here, we have a decimal, 0 and 845 thousandths. Okay, there's not quite as many. You only have 15 questions. But once again, a little more difficult because now we're using decimals. All right, so as you can see, which number is in the hundredths place, writing it in expanded form, rounding to decimal place values, comparing decimals, ordering decimals, adding, subtracting decimals, decimals on a number line. Number 14 is a little bit tricky. says write a real world problem using the number correctly. So what that means is, can you think of a real world example where you would use the numbers 0 and 845 thousandths? So you don't have to solve anything. You just have to say, here's a real life situation where we'd use that decimal or that number. And then 15 multiplied by 4. All right, and finally, if you've made it this far, great job. Spiral Review Level 5. This is dealing with fractions. So as you can see here, today's fraction 2036. One thing I'd ask is when you make your fraction, if you make up your own, make sure it is not in simplest form, because you're going to have to use that simplest form for some of the other questions. So you want to start with a non-simplest form fraction, so like 20 over 36. All right, and this one's the most challenging. This is working with a lot of our fractions, obviously. So finding the greatest common factor, simplify the fraction, converting to a decimal, converting to a percentage, writing it as a ratio. Okay, listing factors, listing multiples. Okay, comparing it. So is the number greater than or equal to a half, 1/4, 3/4? What benchmark is it closest to? Writing equivalent fractions, drawing a number line and placing it on there. So as you can see, a lot more difficult questions. So you'll want to just work your way from level 1 through level 5 and progress through, like I said, about 80%. So most of them have 20 questions. You'll want to get 16. And then there's one that has 15. You can just try to get 12 or better on that one to move on. All right. So let's take a look at the recording form for any of the game or levels that you're choosing. All right, and this is a pretty straightforward form. So you're going to just put down a couple things. Your number, so 37, and then what level it is, level 1. Or it's a fraction, so you're doing 16/32, and that's level 5. So you want to put down your number and the level. That way when we check it, we can match it up with those questions that match. All right, and then this is just the question number. So there's 20 lines. One of them only goes to 15. The other ones you'll need all 20. And you're just going to write your answers over here on the right. So obviously we cannot create an answer key for this because you could create any number you want. So there's literally hundreds and thousands of questions that you could be creating. So you might have to have a friend or a teacher or a parent maybe check your work on these because, like I said, it's impossible to create an answer key for all the possible questions that you might create based on the numbers you choose. But anyway, this one is called Spiral Review. This is a great thing to practice. Pull it out every, once or twice a month. Just kind of see where you're at. It refreshes. That's what the whole spiral is. It comes back to things that you haven't practiced in a while. And if you can do these, I think you'll be very successful in math. So once again, another bonus from SoFlex Math. Hope you enjoy, and we'll see you in the next lesson.